So the state of Texas has finally executed John William King. He was the second guy that was a part of the dragging death of James Byrd Jr. back in Jasper, Texas in 1998. But I want to go ahead and show you a quick clip.
James's death has come to symbolize the ills of our society, what prejudice, hatred, bigotry can lead to if it's allowed to run rampant.
You might want to say today, sir? Any thoughts you might have as you continue with the jury selections?
As far as any regrets, no, I have no regrets.
If they vote the wrong way, we know that they support hate crimes. Thank you very much.
I had to forgive because if I didn't, hate would eat me up just like it hit him up. And I refuse to live that life like that. Life is too precious to be just consumed with hate all the time, so I refuse to have to take that step.
I remember the death of James Byrd Jr. like it was yesterday. I had just graduated high school, and we heard what happened to James Byrd Jr. I mean, it really was a shockwave back home, because Jasper is more so East Texas. And let me tell you something, when you get to them little areas like Jasper, Viter, all them little areas like that, I mean, these places are conclaves of white supremacists. You hear me? I mean, the sheriffs, they white supremacists. Everybody's white supremacists in those areas, period. I mean, everybody's connected to somebody that's racist. And if they're not racist, they have to keep that to themselves. It's just how it is. Now, they found James Byrd Jr., they beat the brother, they chained him to the truck, and then they drove 3 miles with dragging his brother on the highway in a rural area. And to this brother, basically body just disintegrated, and then they left the body, just the little bit that was left, just there on the side of the road. Now, the evil and the terrorism that's been done to Black Americans is something that we have been suffering for hundreds and hundreds of years. They've done tactics like this to intimidate us, to make us afraid, to make us not want to build businesses, move on with our lives. This is the terrorism that we have suffered in this country. All the pain and suffering, the sabotage, the wrongdoing that's been happening to us as a American culture, because it is a culture in America to hurt and harm Black people. It's in the culture and it's in the fabric of America. And the majority of the country is okay with Black people being hurt, harmed, and killed, because if they were not okay with it, it would have stopped a long time ago. As long as it's not happening to them, they're cool. But then they want to talk about the things that's starting to happen to them and wonder why. You see, when things are happening to us, you should have stepped in and handled that. I'm not talking about the minority of their group who are decent people, who want to fight and do the right thing, because they do have a minority in their group that I've even met. I've met a lot of them that are good people that don't want to see this evil that go on in this country. But unfortunately, they are the minority. If they were the majority, we wouldn't have a racism problem. We wouldn't. Now, this is why we constantly talk about and advocate for reparations. This is why we keep doing it, because we have to be repaired of all the pain and suffering that we have experienced, not only terrorism wise, but also with our economics. For example, the families from 9/11 were compensated because of the terrorism that happened to them. How many acts of terrorism have we gone through in this country as Black Americans? So if the families of 9/11 could be compensated, for terrorist acts, surely the black community can be compensated through reparations for not only the terrorist acts, but for the land that was stolen from us, from our towns that was destroyed, from our businesses that was sabotaged, and it was legal to do so. We have to continue to push for reparations. This is why I had posted on my community tab, no reparations, no vote. It's just that simple. And that has to be the motto, period. It has to be the motto, because we have to be serious about that. And we have to be serious enough to say we will hold our vote, because our vote is that powerful. We can hold it. We can literally almost delegitimize the political process if we say, nope, we're not doing it, especially when our votes are needed. This is why we have to keep pressing on. And this is why I have advocated and say, you know what, let's get the topic of reparations on the debate stage. So this is why I have said that, hey, let's give $1 to the one candidate that's talking about it just to get her on the debate stage. And let's see what she'll talk about. At the same time, if we get her on the debate stage, then we got a little bit more pull to ask certain things. And that's what I'll say. We need political pull. We don't need to be trying to shame people to talk for us. We need to have some skin in the game. And where I'm at with it, especially as I get older, I tell people this all the time. I don't have time to fool with people in our community that don't want to do nothing or want to complain. If you want to complain and not do nothing, then move out the way. We all can put something in, at least $1, for our own future, because we got to get politically motivated. We got to do something and understand this fight going to have to continue. It's just not one election or one thing. So if you can, donate $1 to the campaign of Marianne Williamson. I got the link in the pinned comment, because we have suffered many acts of terrorism and also everything we went through economically. And that has to be repaid, because it is sick, a sin and a shame what has happened to black Americans, especially to our brother, James Byrd Jr. What I would say to the white supremacists that killed our brother in this manner, good riddance. May you burn in the greatest fire of hell that is ever created. I hope you tortured for all of the rest of eternity in hell. So that's exactly where you belong for doing what you did to my brother. That had nothing to do with you, didn't bother you, didn't do anything wrong. He was just simply being a black man. I hope you burn it in atomic fire. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this particular story with James Byrd. We got to get politically motivated, for our community, because, reparations is extremely important. We got to continue to fight.